Testing. 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 Is this thing on? Testing. Is this thing on? Testing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Above It All program. It is, it's 1/4/23 today on the Above It All program. And, I'm here to do a show. It's a news show. And, we're doing the news, today. For the news show, which is today. And tomorrow. And the next day. 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 And the day after that. So, we got some users in the chat room. So, fill out this survey. I got a survey going on. Check it out. So do the survey. So this is a news show. I do a news program. What is news when you think about it? Right? Like, new is a word that exists. News, all of a sudden, is something completely different? I don't know. Like, can't we come up with another word, like events? I don't know. But either way, this is a news program, and we're going to be talking about the news. In the news today, everyone's talking about it. Let's react. I got to weigh in. Intelligent analysis inbound, everybody. So, Kevin McCarthy, not doing so well when it comes to the speakership in the United States House of Representatives. Everyone's having a good time watching the clown show. Isn't that great? We're watching the show. The reality television program starring Kevin McCarthy. And, yeah, the Joe Biden thing. Hold up. I gotta move that. Yeah. I fucked up my intro. I'm playing around with some graphics here. But anyway. But yes, this is a news show, and I'm doing the news here. And, we're talking about Kevin McCarthy and the speakership. So I know you've watched every other video by now. You know what's going on. I'm not breaking any news here. You've seen other people talk about this. You've read an article about it. You know what's going on. What kind of person just doesn't know what's going on the speakership, and then they wake up and watch my show, and then this is breaking news to them. They never heard this before, so you already know what's going on. Kevin McCarthy is presumably going to be the next Speaker of the House, but he is not having an easy time of getting there. But why is that? A lot of people are saying GOP in disarray. That's the headline. GOP divided. GOP in disarray. But are they really? Are they really in disarray? Because everyone wants to pretend like, oh, wow, the Republican Party, they're crazy. And they're getting They're getting crazier. And the right wing of the Republican Party is out of control. But are they? Are they really out of control? No. They're not. But you know who is in control? Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans that are going to utilize this moment to cleave themselves from the right-wing part of the party. The GOP is in disarray, everybody. And the moderate, sane Republicans are going to come out of the ashes of this one. This is all just a rebranding exercise. All they want to do is find a way to improve the reputation. So, next time you hear someone talk about the GOP in disarray, I need you to understand, America, the mainstream media, they're all going to forget about this shit in a couple days. They're going to have it ironed out in a couple days. But what they're not going to forget is that those crazy 20 Republicans are crazy. But is it 20 Republicans that are crazy? Or is it 222 Republicans that are crazy? How many Republicans are really crazy here? Just 20? Really? Does anyone actually think that? That there's just 20 Republicans that have lost their goddamn marbles. Anyway, let's read. A stunning inability to elect a speaker Tuesday highlighted fissures within the Republican Party over strategy and vision, grinding the House to a halt and raising fresh questions about the future of the GOP. Quote, "We have to make a choice today. Are we going to be the party of the radical 2%? Because that's what it comes down to." A frustrated Representative Kat Kamek from Florida said after a caucus meeting, "Kevin McCarthy will be the Speaker of the House, and I don't care if it's the first ballot or the 97th. Once again, the language here is very precise. Are we going to be the party of the radical 2%? It's just 2% of the party, everybody. That's all. Everyone else, moderate, sane, totally not crazy Republicans, right? That's what America is being told. That's what the mainstream media is saying, that the Republican Party is in disarray because of the far right flank. Is that why they're in disarray? And also, are they even in disarray? The standoff was demoralizing for a party that had hoped to use the new majority to show Americans how it would govern. How it would govern? Now, I don't want to pick on the language of this article too much, but how it would govern? The Republican Party will not govern. The idea, I know, I'm reading from NBC News here. I understand. Mainstream media needs to pretend as if Republicans have any interest in governing. They're gonna govern! Are they? Well, Democrats hold the Senate and the presidency, so whatever the Republicans would pass in the House isn't going to become law anyway. So, what other form of governing is there? Well, the only thing Republicans have planned to do is to host investigative reports and House hearings on how big Hunter Biden's massive, beefy cock is. So, is that governing? Is it? Does that count as governing? When I think of the word govern, do I think of looking at the president's kid's big, beefy dick? Is that what I think of when I think of governing? Because that's not what I think of. You know, I can think about Hunter Biden's big, beefy cock without thinking about governing. But anyway, before it asks voters to give the GOP control of the White House and the Senate in 2024, instead the displays of dysfunction threaten to further alienate independent and center-right voters who drifted toward Democrats in 2022, causing the GOP's underperformance in the midterm election in its current paper-thin margin. Quote, I think it's a problem for the party. It absolutely is, said former Representative Mick Mulvaney, a co-founder of the House Freedom Caucus, home to the rebels. How is it not a problem for the party if we can't even decide on who our leader's gonna be? Is it really a problem for the party? Or is this just all an elaborate exercise to convince America that only a small percentage of the Republicans are the crazy ones? It's Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody! Lauren Boebert! They're crazy! And everyone else is a moderate and sane Republican who just wants to get things done. But do they? Does anyone actually believe that a Republican majority in the House is going to govern? Because if anyone believes that, they're a dumb motherfucker. They are a dumb motherfucker. But they're all over. Mulvaney, I don't care. Fuck Mulvaney, okay. The House adjourned Tuesday after 3 failed ballots. The first time in a century a speaker election has gone past the first vote. And with no clear path forward. Is there really no clear path forward? Really? Now, I have a question. Has anybody in the mainstream media, do they actually believe that anybody other than Kevin McCarthy will become Speaker of the House? Because I don't. Kevin McCarthy will become Speaker of the House. This is all just a branding exercise. The so-called right-wingers, they want to brand themselves as mavericks, but they'll fall in line. The so-called moderates want to brand everyone else are the crazies. I'm not crazy. It's that guy. I'm not crazy. No, it's Marjorie. She's the crazy one. I'm a sane moderate. Are these so-called far-right Republicans, are they being brave? Are they actually pushing for concessions? We're going to the movies, folks. Grab your popcorn. Are they really? Well, we know that the craziest motherfuckers in Congress have billionaire funding and backers. We know that billionaires would not fund these people if they would go against the billionaire mantra. My opinion on this is all an elaborate branding exercise. Now, am I saying that all the Republicans in the House are on the same page on this exercise? No, I am not saying that. But the billionaire donors who got those 20 Republicans in the House, they know what's going on. They know if they put those people there that they're going to be a lightning rod for all the criticism and that it's going to make all the other Republicans look moderate and sane. That's why billionaires put people like Marjorie Taylor Greene into office, as a way to contrast the real Republican agenda. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and the rest of them, they are the Republican agenda. When it comes to policy, now again, policy, the so-called moderates like Kevin McCarthy and the radicals like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they have a 100% shared policy agenda. Genocide of minority groups such as queer people, immigrants, and so on. Tax cuts for their donors and their daddies. And destroying this country from the inside out and robbing us blind. They agree on all of that. The only thing that they disagree on is how they're going to talk about their policy agenda. That is the only disagreement in the Republican caucus. So the idea that the Republicans are in disarray, they're not in disarray. They're not. This isn't disarray. What's disarray? Democrats are in disarray. The Democratic Party is a caucus of people that are Republicans, but don't like the brand of Republicans, so they switch to Democrat. The Democratic caucus has people that are not straight and white. There are black Democrats. There are gay Democrats. There are poor Democrats, such as newly elected member of the House and Generation Z person, Maxwell Frost. There are poor Democrats. There are rich Democrats. There are trust fund baby Democrats. There are working class Democrats. If you want to know a party that's in disarray, it's the Democratic Party. The Republican Party, they're all white, they're all rich, and they all hate minorities. They have the same exact policy agenda. Every single elected Republican agrees on everything. So the idea that mainstream media is going to convince people that the Republicans are in disarray, oh, jeepers creepers, the Republicans need to get their act together. Really? Or is this just an elaborate exercise to redeem the reputation of members of the House such as Kevin McCarthy? Is Kevin McCarthy angling to be the moderate? Is that why this is all happening? He doesn't want to be the leader of the far-right clown show circus. He wants to be the serious governing agent and speaker of the House. Yeah. To the rebels, many from deep red districts, sinking McCarthy is a justified rebuke to a Republican establishment that they feel has long failed to live up to expectations of the voters. Do they really think that, though? Do they? Do they really? Republicans won the House of Representatives. Now, mainstream media convinced everybody, hell, including myself, I'll cop to it, that the Republicans were going to have a red wave, a red tsunami. They're going to pick up 80 seats. It's going to... But was that really, actually, ever in the cards? Really? I mean, were they really going to have a red wave? Or is that just mainstream media convincing everyone that they were? And managing America's expectations for us. Think about it. The Republicans won the House of Representatives. The Democrats had it, and now they don't. That's a win. But they're mad? Because they didn't win harder? Anyway, you can read the rest of this if you'd like, but I want to jump into this part. Donald Trump publicly urges House GOP to back McCarthy for Speaker. This is this morning's update. Donald Trump is weighing in. Will these so-called radicals in the party buck Donald Trump, their King Daddy? Will they? Will they go against God King Emperor Donald J. Trump? Orange J Man, as we like to call him. I don't think so. This is all an elaborate branding exercise to make the majority of the Republicans seem rational. How many Americans out there do you think have an improved reputational understanding of people like Kevin McCarthy because of this incident? Now, that improved reputation could only be because of a contrast that is completely made up. These so-called radicals, Matt Gaetz, oh boy, he's a radical. Kevin McCarthy's a moderate. Right? So, let's see what Donald Trump has to say. Quote, some really good conversations took place last night, and it's now time for all of our great Republican House members to vote for Kevin. Close the deal. Take the victory, Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social on Wednesday. Republicans do not turn a great triumph into a giant and embarrassing defeat. It's time to celebrate. You deserve it. Kevin McCarthy will do a good job, maybe even a great job. Just watch. So, will Kevin McCarthy become Speaker? Obviously. Now, I'm willing to eat my hat if somehow, by a stroke of magic, Hakeem Jeffries became Speaker. Could you imagine? That would be funny. We all enjoy the fantasy scenarios. But is that really going to be happening? Is that really a possible outcome? Think about it. No. But if it does happen, I'll come on here tomorrow and I'll say, darn, I was wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. The Democratic Party has said that they would not perform a quote-unquote side deal to get McCarthy squeaking by. They don't need to. Why would they? Why would they risk their own reputation? But once again, there is no side deal necessary. Republicans are going to elect Kevin McCarthy. They're going to fall in line, and they're going to, again, improve and rehabilitate the brands of the so-called moderates. Wow, the GOP is in disarray! For about 7 hours every 100 years. Meanwhile, the Democratic House members have elected Hakeem Jeffries as their minority leader. Hakeem Jeffries is a corporate sellout who despises poor people, advocates for them to die as quickly as possible, hates minority groups, even ones that he happens to be a part of, and does not give a fuck about you or anybody, but only his wallet. So, are GOP, are they in disarray? Or is it the so-called Democratic Party nominating and electing a progressive-hating, minority-hating, corporate sellout fuckface? Maybe that's the party in disarray? And we thought Nancy Pelosi was bad? Why didn't anybody in the Democratic caucus find a better solution to Nancy Pelosi than Hakeem Jeffries? Why? Well, the answer is because Democrats are in disarray. That's why. Democrats, again, are the party of the poor and the party of the rich at the same time. Whereas Republicans are just the party of the rich. So when you go out there and watch your cable news and watch your whatever YouTube channels you watch that are quote-unquote progressive leaning, whatever the fuck that means. I'm a progressive. What? That doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. When you go out and watch them and they're making fun of the Republicans, hey, I'm glad that they're entertained. But think about how the average dumb fuck, shit for brains, cocksucking American will see this. They will see, wow, 20 Republicans are crazy. I'm glad the moderates took over and the crazies fell in line. The crazies wisened up and the moderates are taking over. The sane, rational Republicans are going to win the day and win the hearts and minds of Americans. Or will they? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that's my opinion on the House speakership debacle. I'm sorry for not having the same opinion as everybody else. I apologize for being maybe a little pessimistic when I think about Republicans controlling the House of Representatives. I'm sorry for thinking that bad things will happen and that probably there are no good outcomes. But, hey, an optimist going out there and saying, wow, what did they got dang, you know? Feel free to huff the copium all you want. But this, once again, is a branding exercise. Just look at how mainstream media is going to talk about it when Kevin McCarthy is eventually, and it could be today, elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. So anyway, it's a news show, and there's the news. Everybody, there's a goddamn Max dog right here. Look, he's hiding behind me. Max, why are you hiding? So, anyway. Everybody, I have a survey that I would like people to fill out if they have time. I will read the responses at the end of the stream. I changed my username on twitch.tv, so bookmark the new URL. I may do the same on youtube.com. I'm not sure. I owe $20. I owe no such thing. I'm sorry, Farmanistopoulos Duflu. I'm just going to mine your data and you get nothing? I apologize. Actually, I don't apologize. Let's have fun. Right? This is fun. This is a news show. Hello, everybody. I'm the host of a news show. And on this news show, we like to have fun. But how do we like to have fun? Well, we like to look at dumb fuck motherfuckers on the internet doing stupid fucking garbage. That's fun, I guess. So let's have some fun. This is from news18.com. Did Andrew Tate fans hold a Twitter space with the Taliban over his arrest? Isn't that cool? Now, of course, I had a YouTube strike when Andrew Tate was arrested. I did not comment on this yet. Many people have asked my opinion. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who Andrew Tate is. I know a lot of people have been giving this guy free publicity for the last couple of months. I've avoided it. I don't know who this guy is. But I will say, when Andrew Tate got pwned online by Greta Thunberg, that I saw the tweet and I enjoyed it. But I, other than that, don't know who this guy is. I also don't really care. I don't care who this guy is. He's one of those macho man, so-called self-help, like, misogynist freaks, or so I'm told. But to be honest with you, I don't fucking care about looking up his actual beliefs. A lot of right-wingers love to say, oh, why don't you just listen to what he's saying? He's just trying to teach men how to better themselves. Maybe. I don't know. Why? Because I don't fucking care. Why? Because the little bit that I've seen from this brain-dead cocksucker, Andrew Tate, makes me cringe my fucking face off. So, I don't fucking care. But, you know what I do know? If a fascist regime like the Taliban are supporting this guy, he's probably not good. But hey, what do I know? Let's read this story. Andrew Tate, the misogynistic influencer who was arrested by Romanian authorities on December 29 on suspicions of human trafficking, had the Taliban worried for him? Really? Well, I know that the American right who loves this guy, Tucker Carlson who loves this guy, mainstream media who loves this guy, well, now they're on the same side as the Taliban. Who would have seen that coming? According to Samira Khan, who calls herself, quote, an anti-woke journalist, we are, quote, we are hosting a Twitter space with the Afghan Taliban to discuss the detainment of Andrew Tate. They are worried about Andrew Tate, and they are asking us if he's free yet. Yeah. The Taliban is asking Samira Khan if Andrew Tate is free, because Samira Khan, some random stupid dipshit fuckface for brains, apparently has insider information on the governmental apparatus of Romanian law enforcement. What? Like, I mean, seriously, like the Taliban, some apparently capable of accessing Twitter.com, but not capable of doing simple Google fucking searches? What possible in-fucking-formation could Samira fucking Khan possibly fucking have that the rest of us don't have? I don't know. Quote, free Top G, she added in another tweet. Top G is a nickname that Tate's fans have given him. Tate calls himself Top G, which means top gangster in internet parlance. I love the way that this is written, by the way. This sounds like it's written by like a 90-year-old man. He has said that Top G means an individual capable in all realms, or competent in every field. Every field? What does that even mean? Journalist Otto English shared a screen grab of Khan's tweets and wrote, "This actually happened." Quote, Taliban in the space is worried about Andrew Tate and is asking us if he is free yet, Khan wrote in one tweet on December 31. Taliban in the space, quote, Westerners need Andrew Tate because they are oppressed by feminists, she claimed in another tweet. So, you ask me, do I like Andrew Tate? The answer is no. Why would I? You ask me, Taliban, good or bad? I say, bad. And when you see groups like the Taliban, a fascist, oppressive, they literally execute women in the street for daring to not wear their specific garb that they force upon them. You ask me if I think those guys know what's going on in a good way, and I say, no, these people are fucking crazy. They're fucking crazy. They are fucking crazy. Andrew Tate was detained in Romania's Bucharest as part of human trafficking and rape probe, along with his brother Tristan Tate. The Council of Europe, through Greta, the group of experts on action against trafficking in human beings, urged Romania last year to effectively prosecute human trafficking. I love that one. Little Easter egg. Greta. Anyway. So, there you go. That's my opinion on Andrew Tate. So there's your free publicity for this stupid fucking goofball. Why? Why do people feel the need to pretend as if Andrew Tate is anything but a neo-Nazi adjacent scumbag? And when I say adjacent, I don't mean that he is not a neo-Nazi, but he just communicates with neo-Nazis. What I mean is he is a neo-Nazi. He just hasn't publicly expressed all of his beliefs yet, but he does associate with neo-Nazis, and you can tell that just by looking at him. So anyway, human trafficking and rape allegations. Now, is it possible that this is a frame job? Is it possible that this is trumped up charges? Sure, it's possible. It's also possible that Donald Trump went to Epstein's private island for a fun little game of Twister. So, we'll see. But there you go. Yeah, maybe he'll get Epsteined. We'll see. Once again, hoping for the best possible outcome. I gotta, wipe off my glasses, man. There's, some snot particles on this shit. Fuck. There was someone interviewed on MR that said we need to differentiate between Nazis and people who are Nazi adjacent. Yeah, I disagree with that. The only difference is that they all have the same beliefs. The only difference is that some of them don't say them publicly. That's the difference. All right, everybody. Hopefully people are enjoying the show today. I would once again like to ask people if they would fill out my survey. You know, it's free. But you want to know what's not free? Giving me money. Because I cost money. So if you want to give me money on any of these platforms, I appreciate it. So, but you don't have to. Tyler, I agree with you. But my point is that Republicans are 100% pro-rich, whereas Democrats, there are two categories, right? So, there's 97% pro-rich, 3% pro-poor, right? But it is still multiple categories. I am sorry. I haven't checked any of my bowl, so I apologize. But thank you. So put your seatbelt on, everybody, because it's time for the daily 90-minute long COVID segment. Tough on China. Remember that? Remember when Donald Trump, I don't know, what is it, 3 years ago now, banned travel to China and from China to prevent an outbreak of the so-called Wuhan flu in the United States, but left the barriers open in Europe, and the virus came flooding in from Europeans because it wasn't about protecting Americans from COVID. It never was. It was about being racist for fun. 3 years later, Joe Biden is doing the same thing. Beijing threatens response to, quote, unacceptable COVID measures imposed on Chinese travelers. I have said this pretty much since the vaccine rollout and the advent of the Delta variant, that Joe Biden and his administration is worse than Donald Trump on COVID. And I'm willing to explain that. I know it might sound crazy to you. If you're a Democrat, it might sound crazy to you. When Donald Trump destroyed our country by not protecting us from the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus known as COVID-19, everybody in liberal media was very directly opposed. You saw celebrities going on television doing Zoom calls to show everyone, yeah, we're staying at home. We saw these so-called reunion programs with classic cast members of hit 90s and early 2000s sitcoms doing reunion shows via Zoom. Because we're in a lockdown. Not a quarantine, everybody. No, not a quarantine, but a lockdown. A phrase that reminds you of prison, right? And now, 3 years later, it took 3 years. Not even, it took 1.5 years, let's be honest. But now here we are, 3 years, and liberals are the new fascists. Now, the fascists, the conservatives, they're still fascists, right? So why do I say that Biden is worse than Donald Trump on COVID? Let me explain it. Donald Trump convinced the fascists in America to be anti-health, anti-public health, and pro-virus. Okay? But liberals were extremely opposed. Do you remember the resistance? Does anyone remember? #resist. Anyone remember that? Mainstream media and liberal circles were telling people, wear your mask, get vaccinated. Does anyone remember this? The conservatives, the fascists, as I call them, because they're crazy, deplorable scumbags, they did not advocate for public health. So when Joe Biden is elected, running on a campaign of fixing this country and moving on from COVID and getting us through the pandemic, what Joe Biden was able to do in the year 2021 and the year 2022 was convince the other major cohort of Americans. There are 3 cohorts of Americans when it comes to politics. Crazy dumb fuck Republicans, crazy dumb fuck Democrats, and everyone else who's also probably crazy and dumb, right? So Donald Trump got one of those cohorts to go against public health measures. Joe Biden successfully got the second cohort, the liberals, to advocate against public health measures. And that is why I say Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump on COVID. And now Joe Biden is doing the same thing Donald Trump did. Liberals accuse Donald Trump of being a xenophobic racist for banning travel to China in early 2020. Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden's CDC was caught red-handed, I covered this yesterday, Joe Biden's CDC covered up a new super variant, as it's called, XBB.1.5, a super variant that has exploded all across this country throughout the holiday season. The CDC's own reporting guidelines say that it will announce when new variants reach 1% threshold. What that means is out of every COVID case is 100%. Every tracked COVID case is 100%. And then they can analyze which strains each individual has with some, data analysis, essentially. And they can figure out, 30% are this strain, 40% are that strain. The CDC's guidelines, their own guidelines that they made up, clearly state if a new variant reaches 1% of the total variant pool, they would make an announcement. They waited until this new variant was 40% to make an announcement. They announced that there was a new variant after Christmas. This variant reached 1% threshold before Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving. This new variant is a so-called super variant that is immune evasive. It has an extremely high, unseen to this point, R value for transmission. And the CDC knew about it and didn't say anything until after Christmas. They don't want to cause a panic during the holidays, right? Right? What if Americans wore a mask during the holiday season? Oh, we can't have that, right? The CDC's own guidelines for how they report their data say that they will announce and talk about major new variants when it reaches the 1% threshold. They didn't talk about this one until it reached 40%. That's Joe Biden's CDC. That's Joe Biden in charge of the CDC. So, once again, Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump on COVID. And I think that this story is the nail in the coffin for my thesis. I've had a lot of pushback when I say Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump on COVID. Does that mean Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump on everything? No. On a lot of things. Most things, Joe Biden. I would say everything but COVID, Joe Biden is probably better than Donald Trump. Is he great? No. But 0.1% better is still better. But when it comes to COVID, he is much worse. So let's read this. The Chinese government blasted COVID-19 testing requirements imposed on passengers from China and threatened countermeasures against countries involved, which include the U.S. and several European nations. Quote, "We believe that the entry restrictions adopted by some countries targeting China lack scientific basis, and some excessive practices are even more unacceptable," Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said at a daily briefing Tuesday. Quote, "We are firmly opposed to attempts to manipulate the COVID measures for political purposes and will take countermeasures based on the principle of reciprocity." The comments were China's sharpest to date on the issue. Australia and Canada this week joined a growing list of countries requiring travelers from China to take a COVID-19 test prior to boarding their flight as China battles a nationwide outbreak of the coronavirus after abruptly easing restrictions that were in place for much of the pandemic. Now, I am not a fan of the government in China. I've said this multiple times. But I believe in science, I believe in facts, I believe in data, and I believe in history. I believe that there is only one version of reality, and I try as much as I possibly can to be aligned with the one version of reality, unlike most Americans. China was where the COVID-19 virus theoretically originated. right? I would say in 2020, it made more sense to ban travel on China. I still didn't support that, but it made more sense in 2020 because we knew that the virus originated from China. Now, again, we left European travel open. We should have cut all travel, and we did, a couple months later, right? But that was after the virus already got into the borders, right? We should have cut all travel and shut the border down. And that includes shutting us down, quarantining us in this country. But at this point, in January 2023, banning travel to China makes no sense at all. Now, it didn't really make any sense 3 years ago, but it certainly makes no sense now. And you know what's funny? American politicians spent the last few months, we need freedom in China. The Chinese people need freedom. The protesters in China, zero COVID. Zero COVID is so bad. Fascism. Oh my God, authoritarian. Zero COVID is so bad. So you know what China did? They listened. They listened to the US-backed protests. And they cut zero COVID. And now the Americans are like, oh, well, fuck you anyway. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Americans got what they wanted and then said, fuck you to China anyway. Americans internationally, geopolitically, lobbied for this outbreak. That's what they did. They advocated for it. They strategized for it. And they got it. They got exactly what they wanted. And now they're saying fuck you to China anyway. But let's talk about this. Joe Biden and his xenophobic, racist, and disgusting policy is backfiring. But how? Well, the XBB.1.5 super variant, which originated in the United States, is much more dangerous than what's circulating in China right now. So, banning, or rather adding restrictions, which would reduce travel to and from China, will help China. Now, of course, China and their government does not respond well to racism. But overall, this policy helps the Chinese people. The Chinese people will theoretically be safer from the super variant for a longer period of time. So again, I've made many videos about zero COVID. Go look those up on my channel, right? I'm not going to sit here and repeat everything on my opinion on zero COVID. Zero COVID, mostly good, but also pretty bad in a lot of areas. And of course, the vaccine distribution in China was horrible. But America is fucking trash. America is fucking garbage. Joe Biden said that the pandemic was over in September, maybe October. He said the pandemic was over. If the pandemic is over, why are we restricting travel to and from China if the pandemic is over? I thought the pandemic was over, Joe. Joe Biden and his CDC, again, covered up information on this super variant throughout the holidays and only released the information after Christmas. We have a new variant that is immune evasive, vaccine evasive, extremely transmissible, extremely infectious, coming out of New York, USA. But the pandemic's over. Only 15% of this country even got the bivalent booster shot, which we don't even know if it's going to help us with this new super variant. It'll be more effective than getting a vaccine 2 years ago, by far and away. But we don't really know yet how the super variant will deal with the general population. We're watching it happen now. So the data won't come in maybe for a couple more weeks, maybe a month. So if you haven't gotten your bivalent booster shot, now's the fucking time to get it. But if you're going to be going to the pharmacy to get that shit, I would wear a hazmat suit. When I got my booster shot, I went to the pharmacy. No one had masks on except for me. So, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? It's hilarious. But once again, this story... Other countries, including the US, UK, India, Japan, and several European nations, have announced together COVID-19 measures on travelers from China amid concerns over a lack of data on infections in China and fears of the possibility that new variants may emerge. Lack of data and fears of a new variant? I need you, again. Okay. Lack of data and possibility of new variants. Again. Facts. Reality. The United States CDC covered up data on the new variants that were emerging in the United States throughout the holiday season. Fact. The CDC knew a week and a half before Thanksgiving that this new super variant would fuck us up. And they kept it secret. They kept that information secret from the public until after Christmas. And now what do we know? A new variant went from 1% prevalence in COVID circles to 40% prevalence in a month. So what they are accusing China of doing is exactly what the United States did. But that's no surprise that the United States would be a hypocritical, xenophobic, racist government operated by someone sitting in the White House who was best friends with people who were segregationists and wanted black people to have different schools, different water fountains, and different restaurants. That was Joe Biden's friend group when he entered the Senate. So this is no surprise. But why would countries like the UK, India, and Japan go along with this? Because they don't care about their citizens either. India, which is, by the way, spearheaded by one of the most fascist leaders of any country out of all 200-odd countries that we have on planet Earth at this moment, India's got one of the most right-wing fascist leaders. They don't give a fuck about their population. All they care about is playing silly little geopolitical games to try to arrange themselves on the leaderboard in a little bit of a better way. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. None of these, and China certainly doesn't give a fuck. China dropped zero COVID with almost no announcement, with no vaccine rollout. They don't give a fuck about their citizens at all. None of these governments care at all about you. And you know what? Neither do you. You don't care about your own fellow citizens. If you traveled at all for the holidays, you are just as bad as Jim Crow Joe. You are just as bad as Modi. You are just as bad as Xi. You are garbage if you traveled this holiday season, especially if you did not wear a mask and you are not vaccinated. You are a shitty, terrible human being. So it's no surprise that in a world where most people in this world are terrible, shitty pieces of human garbage, that we elect terrible, shitty pieces of human garbage to lead us. They're leading us to out shit fuck each other. What could possibly go wrong? So once again, I want to say very clearly, Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump on COVID. Joe Biden has done everything Donald Trump did, but more people listened to Joe Biden than Donald Trump. Think about this. Joe Biden, Donald Trump said the same shit, the same things. They say the same things. Their policy on COVID is identical. Identical. They have the same exact policy. The only difference is that the hashtag resistors during Trump's term opposed his garbage. And those same hashtag resistors, well, maybe they got a little tired of resisting, and they're falling in line with what Joe Biden has to sell. And Donald Trump and Joe Biden on COVID are selling the same snake oil. So, what can we say other than we're fucked? And to be very clear, so that there is no possible speculation on my words, it is not in the good dick way. And that is all I have to say on COVID. There's your feature-length film COVID segment. There you go. So anyway, that's all the stories. That's all the segments I got. Can I get like some ratings? Can we get some live feedback on the show? Like, what's going on here? Fill out this goddamn survey. You know, don't like make the survey specific to like today or anything, but like just in general. Fill out the goddamn survey. That'd be cool. I'm changing up the graphics a little bit here. I don't know if anyone saw that. Anyone noted. So, I don't know how many changes. I usually don't like making changes to the layouts, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm in full-blown doomer mode. Just got here. Looks like I missed it. You missed a banger. A banger show. Hello, Tartan. How's it going? Is the Biden admin and the CDC afraid of public backlash? Ostensibly, that's what they want you to believe. But I don't think that's the case. I think the CDC and the Biden administration is content with engaging in genocidal policy agendas. I think that that's, like, they lucked into it, right? Like, you have to understand, American government wants to kill you. That is the role of the American government. I don't know about other governments in other countries. I know a lot of them are similar to the American government. A lot of them, you know, can be pretty decent, okay? But the American government's goal is to murder you as quickly and as legally as possible, preferably before you hit the age of 65 and can collect Social Security. That is the goal. That is the aim. That is the mission of the U.S. government, is to murder you as quickly as possible. But it's hard to do that in a way that doesn't, you know, lead to a revolution. So how do they do it? They do it from the food. They poison the food supply. And now 93% of Americans have metabolic syndrome and metabolic dysfunction and chronic disease. 93% of Americans are diseased from the food. The American government subsidized companies that put poison in the food supply and the water supply, and 93% of Americans are afflicted with some form of a disease in relation to it. 93%. Americans have been conditioned from our school system to hate each other. Not to love each other, but to hate each other. We hate each other. We are taught and raised from a young age to hate each other. Not dislike, but hate. Americans are fucking stupid, and that's why they can't revolt. And so when COVID comes along, America's like, fuck, that's a golden ticket. We can kill millions of motherfuckers, and they won't even acknowledge it. Millions of dead motherfuckers in this country, and no one cares. No one who is still alive right now gives a fuck about the millions of dead motherfuckers. Why? Because this is a country founded on hatred. I hate this country. There's my little editorial at the end there. Is it more because of capitalism rather than purposeful genocide? I think it's purposeful. You can't be president of the United States and then pretend like you don't understand how capitalism kills people. Like, imagine the information that the president has, any government official, the information that they are privy to, that they have access to. They know full well what this country is doing to its people, and they're on board. Goddamn mozzarella sticks, though. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. Questions, comments, or concerns, everybody? Q-cock. Hit me. Yeah, that's my show for today. So I'm just going to hang out. When did you discover it's a garbage country? I don't know. Was that when I was like 10, I guess? Any movies in my future? Fuck. Every movie is in my future. Speed of Doom, Scythe 2, or Resurgence. No contest. No contest. Significantly more interesting than both of Speed of Doom and Scythe 2 combined. Which, no offense to those two, they're great. But Resurgence is fabulous. Fabulous. Movie. I'm going to do more movie content in the future. Where is the survey? It's in the description, but I will post it in the chat right here. Everyone fill out the survey. Can I pin the post? There's pins here now, right? Like, yeah, there's a pin feature on this website. Excellent. A segment on the new CA sanctuary law. I don't know what that is. So feel free to let me know, and I'll look into it and talk about it. Well, Blood Moon, I had a really horrible childhood, so it's kind of hard to be an American exceptionalist when my life sucked from the moment that I achieved consciousness. Yeah, I need to renew HBO Max. I canceled HBO Max because of the recent garbage. But they're making me want to renew it unless I can find This Place Rules on any other platform, you know, or pirate it. I don't know. I might pirate it. HBO Max. I mean, I was telling y'all last year that HBO Max was my favorite streaming service, but they fucked it up so bad. I couldn't even explain how they fucked it. It really is like HBO Max. Like, you asked me this time last year and I'm thinking, fuck, like Netflix is in the dust. HBO Max is going to be and they fucked it all up for no reason. Like, I don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I canceled my subscription to that. But I really want to watch that. So I might go back into it. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see. Used to think America was great, but it took you 4 years living here to see. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you are not American, I think it's pretty easy to fall for some of the propaganda. But living here, it's fucking hard. New law disallows CA law enforcement from extraditing trans children to stay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. You grew up in Iraq. Jesus. That sounds scary. Once again, I'd like everyone to subscribe to my other YouTube channel. I'm trying to get monetized on that bitch. On that bitch. The bitch being the channel. So, if you want to back me up, that'd be great. I've already got 41,000 views on the new channel, so that's cool. Oh no, I'm not going to read the answers on stream. That's private. I wouldn't consider myself an anarchist without the internet and content like Andrea's. Influencing. Oh, the people. Oh, isn't Sinkwell a fucking Canadian? I was going to say the people in this country, but not even in this country. I think you're Canadian, right? Farminostophilis Tufla, you're not getting anything, my friend. You get nothing. You get nothing. If I ever make it big, if I ever become like a super billionaire, I got you, Farminostophiles. Whenever my bank account reaches 6 zeros, I will give you your $20. But until that moment, you get nothing. I found a fun fact earlier that 20% of kids have fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. 1 in 5 children. Now, for those of you that don't know, fatty liver disease is an extremely deadly illness that often occurs when people are alcoholics. But in America, 20% of children have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You should do so. I will bring back the Cooking with the Bitch show very soon. I don't know about very soon. You know, it's not going to be like this week. But maybe by the end of the month. Season 4 will be here. Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, like, once again, that's the show here. I will be streaming on twitch.tv later today, probably. So, you know, hit me up. Hit me up. Hit me up. How do kids get that? From sugar. Alcohol and sugar is metabolized by the liver in the same exact way. It is identical. Because alcohol is sugar. How do you get alcohol? Fermented sugar. Right? So sugar and alcohol affect the body in the same way. So when a kid has soda every day, that's the same as drinking a beer every day. Or if they have multiple sodas a day, that's the same as having a 6-pack of beer. as far as the liver is concerned. So, if anyone has sugar every day as a kid, well, that was me. And I'm fucked for life. I got stretch marks, right? I got excess fat cells all over my body. I've got multiple health issues that a lot of them have been fixed since I took care of my diet. But I didn't consent to any of this. I didn't consent to having my body destroyed because my parents were fucking stupid and didn't bother raising me. I didn't consent to this. And that's why I am an anti-natalist. But yeah, once again, that's it. I'm just kind of here. I mean, I'm just looking at the internet now. I mean, at this point, whatever. But yeah, thank you all for watching my programs, whatever any interaction that you present to me is excellent, and I hope that I can positively improve your lives in some way, even if it's just a distraction for an hour in the morning or whenever you watch the video. I don't know. So that's all I got. Feel free to fill out the survey. Feel free to give me money if you want. I mean, I guess it's not feel free, but because it's not free. But unless you found free money and then you gave it to me, then I guess theoretically it'd be free. But anyway, that's all I got. I gotta go to the urination station. I will see you all later.